Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to talk about order of operations. Before we get started on that, we're going to review absolute value. Absolute value is the distance a number is from zero. So, distance a number is from zero. Okay. Absolute value is denoted with these bars, and it always makes a positive number because distance can always be positive. Distance is always positive. Okay. So these bars represent absolute value, and what happens is it pops out a positive number. So the absolute value of negative 13 is positive 13. For number 2, 21 is inside. Again, it has to be positive. It's already positive, so it does not change. Okay? So absolute value of 21 is just 21. For number 3, before you can add them, you need to first find the absolute value. Absolute value must come first. So what's the absolute value of negative 3? Positive 3. And the absolute value of negative 5? Positive 5. Now you can go ahead and add those, and your answer is 8. Go ahead and try number 4 on your own. Let's see how you did. Before you can add, what did you have to do? Take the absolute value. What's the absolute value of 9? Still 9. The absolute value of negative 8? Positive 8. Now what did you do? Add them and we get 17. Skip number 5. When we look at number 6, I can't take the absolute value of each one yet because they're both inside the same bars. So what this means is you have to figure out what number is inside first. So 21 minus 17 is 4. Now the absolute value of 4 is positive 4. So since the subtraction was inside those absolute value bars, you had to do the subtraction first, then absolute value. Next, let's look at order of operations. Order of operations is a specific order that we must follow to solve. Specific order we must follow to simplify. Specific order we must follow to simplify. You may remember it as PEMDAS or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What does the P stand for? Parentheses. They can look like this. They could also be brackets. Okay. So do what's inside of those first. What does E stand for? Exponents. So you do anything inside parentheses first, then do exponents. M and D, what does that stand for? Multiply and divide. Why are they together? Left to right. You must do those left to right, meaning you may divide before you multiply. These go together. Start left to right and take them out as they come. And lastly, A and S stand for add and subtract. and y are those together? Left to right. So add and subtract go together, solve left to right. So PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, is the order we must follow in order to solve. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. So I want us to go through our list. PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. First thing we must look for is parentheses. Any parentheses? Nope. Next, we're going to look for exponents. Do we have any exponents? Yes. 7 squared is 49. Bring everything else down. I should see a lot of work. You should not be giving me just an answer. Multiply and divide, left to right. So start at the beginning. We have a multiplication, and that is 10. And lastly, we must add and subtract. So starting left to right, 32 plus 49 is 81. And lastly, 81 minus 10, 71. So using your order of operations, go through your list. Let's take a look at number 2. All right. If we were to do the same thing again, what must you do first? Parentheses. I have 2 sets of parentheses, so we're going to do both of those. 8 minus 3 is 5. Bring down this minus 3, and what is hiding in between here? A times. And what is inside this parenthesis? 5. Okay, so do parentheses first. Any exponents? Nope. Multiply and divide, do we have that? Yes. 3 times 5, 15. Bring down the 5 and the minus sign. Last thing to do is subtract, and we get negative 10. Be very careful that you remember there is a secret times in here, so it's 3 times whatever inside. Number 3 is interesting because there are 2 sets of parentheses. One of them is a bracket. Right? So you need to start on the innermost one first. So inside this bracket, we need to do the parentheses inside. So 6 minus 2, 4. Bring everything else down. 12 divided by, here's my 4. I still have parentheses. They just look like brackets. 12 divided by 4 is 3. It's squared. And there's a 4 out front with what hiding? A secret times. So I did those parentheses. What comes next? Exponents. 3 squared is 3 times 3, or 9. And lastly, multiply, and we get 36. So you need to be very careful. If there are 2 sets of parentheses or brackets, do the inside one first, and then work your way out. This last one asks you to evaluate, and that is telling you that x is 2. So wherever there is an x, we're going to replace it with 2. So this will be 2 to the 5th minus 6 times 2, all over. 3 cubed minus 5 times 3 minus, instead of x, we will put 2. Let's use our order of operations to solve the top. Okay? You're going to solve the top and you're going to solve the bottom, and then you will use this divide bar. So this big fraction bar acts as division, and really that means figure out what's on top, figure out what's on bottom, and then divide last. So on top, 2 to the 5th power. What is 2 to the 5th? 32. And then should I subtract or multiply first? Multiply. So 32 minus 12. And what do we get on top? 20. So on top I have 20. Now let's look at the bottom. What is 3 cubed? 27. Okay. And I then need to do what piece next? Multiply. So this will become 27 minus 15 minus 2. And it's all subtraction, so 27 minus 15 minus 2 is 10. Lastly, you can do 20 divided by 10 or 2. So if it asks you to evaluate, plug it in, do what's on top, do what's on bottom, and there's your answer. Nice job today, mathematicians.